However, for your own comfort and safety, please keep your seatbelts.
This time, the COVID, we had a 8-month curfew. We didn't have tourists around in Tbilisi, and we are used to for tourists for last, I can tell, about 7-8 years we start to grow and develop tourism in the country. So I'm happy you are here. Thank you for coming once again. All right, let me tell you what's gonna happen for the next 2 hours, 2.5 hours roughly. We will start our tour from here. This is our main square, the 19th century, let's say, first square in the new part of Tbilisi. So, Freedom and the Liberty Square, Freedom/Liberty Square, we call it. We're gonna dive from here to the residential area of Tbilisi. We are calling Tbilisi. Tbilisi means old Tbilisi, because basically this is a new Tbilisi. It's the 19th century. Here wasn't happening anything. Then we will see some old houses that are still remain. We will see the wall, the remaining of the wall, the remains of the wall, and then we will dive to the old Tbilisi's touristical area. We will walk there. We will see the oldest church in the city, and then we will discover the very first square of Tbilisi. And then from there we will go to our last point, that's the sulfur baths area. So the masks I'll just give you some information. The masks are mandatory, but it's up to you to use it or to don't use it. So normally we use it because there is a fine if the police stop you. It's small amount, but it's like 20 lari, which is like 5 euros. It's nothing. It's not like a euro, 100, 150 euros fines. And it's up to you. Also, sorry? Also. Unfortunately, yes. But from December, we have new rules. So if you are not vaccinated, you are not allowed. You won't be allowed anymore to enter to the indoor places. Which is, I believe, good because we need to, end this pandemic, and the vaccination and the distance and the masks are only, let's say, thing to prevent, let's say, this COVID situation. So, however, if you don't have any questions, we can start our tour. I would like to tell you that we are based on tips. In the end of the tour, if you want, you can give us some tips. We will appreciate it. If not, that is fine as well. Crossing the street, yes. Be careful. Try to use always the underground passage. Also, there is one very important information. If you will need to get some information about the hotels to stay, where to eat, how to travel around the Georgia, for the shopping, where to go for the shopping. On our website, Tbilisi Free Walking Tours, there is a tab you go. You will find all this information there, just to make it easier. Also, during the tour, if you have any questions according to the tour or about some other things, was forest. Nothing was happening here because the city was, you see this building? The city was behind this building. This one. So behind this building. In the 19th century, they demolished the walls in order to expand the city because the population in Georgia, in Tbilisi, was growing, so they could not fit anymore inside the city, let's say. And even now we are calling inside the city, inside the old Tbilisi, and outside. So this is outside, basically. So the population was growing, they demolished the walls. The walls were like 12, 15 meters, and you will see the remains of the walls. The walls was made to protect the city. So in the 19th century, when they demolished the walls, we got for a very first time, let's say, our new square in this area. In 1917, as you know, the Russian Empire collapsed. So we had a very big influence. Why I mention Russian Empire? Because we had a very big influence of the Russian Empire. So 1917, when the Russian Empire collapsed, in 1918 we got our independence for the very first time. So it didn't last, unfortunately, a long time. It lasted only 3 years, right? So in 1921 we were kicked in the Soviet Union. So basically, so a union is something that you are invited in. We were not invited, we were just kicked in. You'll be here. We were like, okay. So since that time, for 70 years, at this square, we had a statue of the John Lennon. Not John Lennon, huh? Exactly, of the Lenin. For 70 years, here we had a statue of the Lenin, and our main avenue was called Lenin's Avenue. So finally, Soviet Union collapsed in the 1990s, right? Soviet Union collapsed for second time. We got again our independence. Woohoo! But still, 20-25% of the Georgia's territory is occupied by Russia. For now, even it's occupied. In 2006, you see that this monument, it's a Saint George monument. He's a Greek saint. He's kind of the patron of the Christianity. He was kind of fighting to protect the Christianity. And you know, the Georgians and the Greeks are the Christian Orthodox. So we have kind of respect of it. And we have his monument in the middle of the city. And it's the only saint's monument that we have in the city. The monument itself is a 3 kilograms of gold and the 27 tons of metal. So this is the story of the Freedom Liberty Square. If you don't have any questions, we can go and see the remains of the wall. Tbilisi was destroyed 27 times. And the last time it was destroyed in the 18th century, literally 95% of Tbilisi it was destroyed by Persian king Aramathat Khan. He destroyed literally 95% of the city. The buildings that remained that they didn't destroy, it was most of them the buildings that belong to rich people, like houses. They could pay to this king, to his people, and they leave it. They didn't destroy those buildings. Also, I would like to tell you about this building. It's one of the first buildings in this area. It was built in the beginning of the 20th century. It was a religious academy, and one of the students here was Yosef Jugashvili, so-called Stalin. Yes, he was a Georgian. No, we are not proud of him. So he was, yes, he was studying here, and he was kicked out from here, and then finally he became